Welcome to the SnapCast podcast, where two friends who love Magic the Gathering, Brad O'Brien and Zach Muller, talk about all things competitive, casual, and financial in the world of MTG. Yo, what's happening?
How's it going, everybody? How's it going, Brad?
It's going good, man. Zach knows, but I literally just walked from the other room watching the first episode of Moon Knight on Disney+. I'm kind of a geek for that stuff, so yeah, I really liked it.
I caught the end of it, like you said, and it seems like a good start to a it's Marvel, right?
Yep.
So a new series to watch, probably.
A new series to watch, and in this world of like binge watching, it is nice for like Disney Plus. They do all of their Marvel shows as a series. Mm-hmm. You have to wait next week for the next exciting episode. I also did get to see The Batman since I last saw you.
I actually forgot that they were releasing a new Batman movie. I haven't been to a movie theater in 3 years, so haven't seen it. And my girlfriend unfortunately doesn't do very well with long movies, so we will probably catch it somewhere off at home on a streaming service sometime in the near future.
And that's the thing. I mean, if it's not the most exciting thing in your world, it eventually is coming to cable.
Right.
Like, it's just a matter of time. I can't remember, there was something recently that I was like, I waited you out. And you finally came to HBO. Now, I do all of the streaming services, basically, which is probably not a good financial decision. I'm not recommending that to anybody. But The Batman was good anyway. Mm-hmm. I feel like for a lot of things like that, it's definitely made for, I think I'm getting to the age where the movies that they're making now are for a slightly different demographic. Mm-hmm. And I have to recognize that that's okay. But what's the guy's name from Twilight that is playing Batman?
I know his character name from Twilight. Right. I couldn't tell you the actor's name.
Edward Cullen, yeah. I think we know. And that's so funny. Like, I know character names way more than actors because I normally don't give a crap about actors.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. I couldn't tell you an actor's name from any movie that I've watched previously or a series that I enjoy. Like, who's the kid that played the newest Peter Parker in the Spider-Man movies? Couldn't tell you his name. So,
is that Tom Holland?
Yes. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Or is that... Because there's Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire and Andrew. There was a Garfield, which I want to say is like,
I couldn't tell you,
which takes us into magic. But I honestly couldn't either. I think I only got that because he's so famous. Actually, he's a ridiculously good dancer.
From what I've been told, yep. Or from what I've seen, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Tom Holland is a great performer. We'll give him that.
There you go.
And those Spider-Man movies were all great. I love all those things. Mm-hmm. It's Zoe Kravitz, I think is her name. I think it's Lenny Kravitz's daughter, plays Selena Kyle in the new Batman.
Okay.
And they just have such a really obvious, we're going to fall in love kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing that detracted from the fact that it was a 3-hour movie. So, yeah, that's definitely not one that you want to go see with the missus.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about today in relation to Magic?
So, a lot of things. That we've had some new spoilers for Streets of New Capenna coming out in a month. Is that?
Yeah, it's in April. I mean, it's this month.
Yep. Yeah. Technically, we're towards the end of March.
I have that down here, April 29th.
Okay.
So today's the 30th of March.
Yep.
So yeah, just about in a month, we're gonna get Streets of New Capenna.
Yep. So we're gonna look at some of those. We have some online events, as always. There was a Modern Showcase Challenge, which people basically call it's either this one or the Super Qualifier leads to essentially like the online
Pro
Tours, which is all played on Arena, but that's besides the point. So we have some new results for those to look at. No in-paper Magic, I believe, was played this weekend, so
not that I know.
Nothing to see there.
What's happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow we do have the organized play announcement
We might talk about that for a minute.
We'll probably talk about that for a little bit today, and then we'll follow up on it next week once we know what happens. But that's going to be the bulk of what we talk about. We'll throw in some finance stuff at the end.
Yeah.
Some card specs.
Yeah, I am excited by Streets of New Capenna. Everybody loves a good multicolored set. And to lead right off with previews of the tricolor lands, which are not actually triomes, and a new set of charms is pretty awesome.
Agreed. And the lands were previewed 2 weeks ago on the Magic Online weekly stream.
Yep.
So we know about these. There was also a new Ascendancy cycle that was previewed. So each family, I guess, because these are 5 different families, right?
Yeah, they're like they're not guilds, they're not clans, but they're like
Mafia.
Yeah, they're mobs. They're like gangs.
Yep.
Basically.
So each of these mob houses will have a series of charms and a series, assumably, of ascendancies.
Yep.
The first ascendancy was also spoiled a few weeks ago. Broca's ascendancy. It is green, white, blue. Just to give a quick rundown.
Yep.
At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty counter. On each planeswalker you control. So,
what do you think about this? A Bant enchantment that gives +1 to your team and planeswalkers every turn.
I wish it did it on like the beginning of turn or right before combat, as we've seen on some other effects. End of turn, it's fine.
Yeah. So Luminar Aspirin is probably the most recent card, a 1 and a white creature that at the beginning of combat on your turn will put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Actually got nerfed in Arena because that was too strong.
Yep.
So I'm actually not surprised that they did this at the end step. It is interesting. Like, if you play this in a Super Friends deck with Nobles and Birds of Paradise, where you can play this on 2, or maybe you play a 3-mana Nissa on 2, and then you play this on 4 with something else.
Yep.
It could be interesting. Like, putting extra counters on your planeswalkers is pretty great. I'm not going to say it's a bad card. I've heard some like really mixed opinions on it.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of the Jeskai Ascendancy from Cons of Tarkia. I believe that was the set. Where it pumps your team and then it allows you to untap everything or untap all creatures. Yeah. It only does half of that effect. It only pumps your team, but it also pumps the loyalty of your planeswalkers, which isn't something that we see a lot of.
No.
So it probably has play in whatever standard format looks like at the time, and then probably EDH play just out of the gate. So something to keep our eyes on. No other ascendancies have been spoiled yet. So we just have to wait and see.
Atrax is everything but red, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this probably goes in a lot of the Atraxa Planeswalker builds. That would be cool. Obviously, EDH Ultra staples, potential Modern staples, Pioneer staples, everything staples. The not triomes. We didn't talk about these last week. We didn't talk about them the week before.
No.
We're on this topic now. We might as well cover them.
Might as well. Yep. I mean, it's nice that we do basically get to finish the cycle of triomes. They're not named triome, but it's basically that cycle.
Yeah.
And being able to finish it in back-to-back sets is kind of nice. We just get them all out there, and then we get to move on to a new potential land cycle later on. But this will be nice. These are all fetchable. They're all fetchable by fetch lands.
They have 3 land types each.
And they're not necessarily dead late game because you can cycle them for 3 mana.
Yep.
So.
And, a lot of people are saying, the Grixis one, does it offer Murktide the opportunity to go Grixis? Does it improve Grixis Death Shadow? So people are already talking about these in Modern because Modern, these 5. So the ones that we didn't have were Esper, Grixis, Jund, Naya, and Bant. And so all of those decks that haven't had the opportunity really to play with them, we might start to see them in new cycles. I'm really disappointed that they didn't at least give these some sort of consistency.
With the naming, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I say triomes, you know the land cycle that I mean.
Mm-hmm.
What the frig do I say about this? The New Capenna tri-land cycle?
Yeah, I mean, there's no common naming amongst these because they're all based off of, again, the mob families or whatever houses that they're based off of. So, and there's no common ground between the naming, which is unfortunate. But you're right. I mean, I personally think players will refer to these as just triomes.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're used to. And that's the cycle that it completes.
So if I say I'm going to fetch the Grixis triome, it's going to be Xander's Lounge, but nobody cares.
Right. And I'm sure people are going to understand what you mean by that because that's what we're used to. We're used to calling them triomes. That's what people will call them.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty big deal. And the regular triomes, if we go to wrong site, MTG stocks, and just look up triome. First one that comes up is Ketria Triome.
Yep. Which is probably one of the most played, if not the most played.
The Teamer Triome, shortly after launch, got down to about $5, is currently about $15. Like, right off the bat, you're talking about a triple up from a standard, a card that only just left standard a set or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still find these packs anywhere. So if you can expect these cards to triple up, I would say when they come out, maybe give it a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure once after April 29th, we'll be talking about these more.
Probably.
But a lot of people slept on the original Triomes and thought a tapped land was too slow.
They did.
This will never see play in Modern. Why would anybody, They're so much better than the Savage lands?
With those
the original tricolor lands that didn't have a
those
land
ones
type?
Yep. Yeah, those ones were not fetchable. They did end up play tapped, but yeah.
It's kind of exciting, like you said. It is nice to just have the cycle out. You know what I wouldn't be surprised on, though, once these all 10 are out, is Wizards comes out with a triome, like,
secret lair.
A secret lair that's like, or they actually name them Bant, Grixis, Naya, whatever. And so if you buy them in the secret lair, they all have the same naming convention.
Yep.
Or they do one of those things where it has two names.
Yep. Well, and then they could also bundle it with the appropriate shock and fetch lands as well. Just
now we're just getting crazy.
Just to eke out more money from the player base. They did it with some of the shock lands already, didn't they?
They did, and you could get like 3 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bastards.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime down the road we see these secret lair or specialty triome bundle where you get the triome of the color scheme and then the corresponding fetch lands and and shocks.
Yeah, so you could buy a Bant box that comes with a green fetch, a blue fetch, a white fetch, and
the shocks and the triome. Yep.
Oh man, I mean, to be fair, I don't know what they would charge for that, but it'd probably be worth it.
Probably be $40 to $50.
and in addition, they have these gorgeous basics. I mean, we just came off of some of the nicest basics WotC's ever made in Kamigawa.
Yep.
And then they have this other set that's just a totally different style, but is equally unique.
It is.
These are going to look crazy. I don't know. And then there is a whole another set of alt arts for both the triomes in 2 different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be 3 different arts for each of the triomes.
Yeah. One's only in collector boosters, one is in set boosters, and then the other one is regular.
Oh, Watsy. Now, wait a minute. Okay, and it looks like the Ascendancy cycle is also getting alt-art treatments, and the charms are also getting alt-art treatments. So you want to talk about one of the charms, or all of the charms?
Yeah, all of them. So the first one that I think was revealed was either the Esper or the Grixis one. The Grixis one was, I'm going to butcher this name again. Maestros, thank you. Maestros' Charm. It's a blue, black, red, so it's one of each color. Instant speed. Choose one, look at the top 5 cards of your library, put one of those cards into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Yep. Each opponent loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life, or it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Note that it does not say player, so it's not a firebolt to the face.
No. But you can create a 6-point life swing if that's what you're going for. Mm-hmm. And 5 damage to target creature or player for 3 mana is not great, but it's about the options. Looking at the top 5 is a pretty good cantrip.
Yep. For 3 mana, I think it's people were comparing it to what's the one that has flashback for black and 5? It's from Innistrad.
No idea.
It's an older card, but it basically does the same thing. It looks at the top X, and you can put one into your hand. The cool thing about these charms that I noted was that each of these abilities kind of comes from the colors themselves, right? So the blue ability is the look at the top 5. That's a pretty common ability from blue that we've seen in the past. Yep. Black has the life drain, life gain, and then the red is the deal 5 to target creature or player.
Planeswalker. Nice.
So that's something that I picked up on the first one, and the other ones I haven't really looked at, but I feel like they're going to be doing similar things.
All right, so let me read Obscura Charm. This is the Esper Charm. The 3 modes on this, you can choose one. You can return target multicolored permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. We should also mention all of the charms are instant, at least the ones that have been spoiled so far. So at instant speed, return target multicolored permanent with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. The second mode that you can choose is counter target instant or sorcery spell. Okay, 3 mana, just a 3 mana counter spell. We've seen a million. Mm-hmm. Or destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. This would have been less powerful 10 years ago, but they have printed a shitload of 3 mana planeswalkers.
Well, not just that, but now that Lurrus is banned in Modern, more planeswalkers, more 3-drop planeswalkers, like Lilian of the Veil, are actually seeing more play. So this comes at a time where maybe 3-drop creatures and planeswalkers are making a comeback into Modern and maybe some other formats. So this is going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. I think people are down on this card at the moment. I think they're calling it one of the weakest. So we'll see. The first mode, I don't think it's going to be used too much. The second one is kind of limited on what you can counter. And in the past, that does kind of dictate playability. Yeah. And the last one, it's a removal spell for 3 mana at instant speed. The conditioning isn't that bad. No. It's, slightly better than Fatal Push, but it costs 2 extra colored mana, so we'll see.
I'm reading this all again and trying to figure out, and they go right down, like, return target permanent 3 or less is Sun Titan. That's the white ability. Mm-hmm. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. That's the blue ability. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. That's the black ability. Yep. But thinking about it, even in the instance where you have to go land, play this, like, you have to have 3 different colors, mana on 3. Mm-hmm. None of these seem really awesome at that point. No. Like, a cancel is great when you absolutely need a counter spell, but you're definitely talking about playing a multicolored deck. Like, what was the there's a 2/2 for 2, I think, from the last Ravnica Allegiance that whenever you play a multicolored spell, you make a human.
Okay.
Like, maybe there is a deck that's... I mean, people played a bunch of those decks in Standard, and I think they even tried it in Historic. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it right now. I wonder if there might be something with that in Pioneer, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean, these
are also uncommons.
They are uncommons instead of rares, which I think the last Charm cycle we saw was also uncommon, way back in Shards or wherever it was. But these also aren't something that you're going to play on turn 3 anyways.
Yeah.
A lot of these effects are going to be good for a late game to closing out a match. So it's going to be interesting. You know, all this is obviously just theory crafting, so we have to wait and see. Then what's the Naya Charm?
I was just going to say, Cabaret Charm. What does this one do?
So this is a red, green, and white. It's the Naya one. Instant speed. Choose one. Charm deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. So again, not to the player, only creature or planeswalker. This is definitely the red ability. The next one is creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn, which is green. And then the last one is create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens, which is a white ability. So it really does seem like the charms will follow this template.
That's so funny that it really does, like, in order with the color printed on the card. That's really funny.
Yep.
What am I thinking? Raise the alarm, 1 and a white, make 2 tokens at instant speed. You know, get a cheap overrun, +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. Also not bad if you're going tokens and go wide. Deal, a removal based on the fact that you're in a go wide deck. Yeah, I mean, somebody will play this.
Absolutely. And this is one that you definitely want to play in multiples because you can... the first one, this one you could actually play on turn 3. You can make 2 1/1s, right? At the end of your opponent's turn, play it, make 2 1/1s, untap. If you have a second one, great. You can, deal 2 to 3 damage to a creature, or make your guys bigger.
Yeah.
And the fact that it gives trample, I think, is really what's going to make this card, or make that ability more playable.
Yeah, because creatures you can this might be worth playing in every Naya commander deck anyway, because it is just a mini overrun. And even if it's just 3 mana, give your team trample in a deck where you're running a bunch of 5/5s and 6/6s and 10/10 dummies, just giving your team a little buff and trample might be worth having the other options occasionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so New Capenna is shaping up to be interesting. But really, one of the things that I've tried to do the last few weeks is start all of our episodes with, have you played any Magic since the last time I saw you, Zach?
This is true. I think I only played Friday night again. I didn't play last night.
Okay.
So I think it was just in-paper events, was just Friday Night Magic last week. I did play a prelim on Monday night online. Didn't do very well with that. I won 2, dropped. Didn't bother trying to break even. I was kind of frustrated because I probably could have at least started 2 and 1. But the second and third rounds I lost due to mistakes that I made in play mistakes. So I was kind of tilted. I didn't bother finishing it out. Whatever.
F&M, I went 2 and 2 and could have gone 3 and 1 again with my black-white deck, except I made the most ridiculous play mistake of playing Dothy, of playing... I knew that my opponent had gotten Grief into hand... I know that my opponent had gotten Cauldron Complete into hand.
Okay.
And I had Grief and Dothy Voidwalker in my hand, and I drew a black spell for turn. And I got so excited that I didn't have to pitch my Dothy Voidwalker that I pitched the black card and griefed them before playing the Dothy Voidwalker.
Yep.
And that was the game.
Really? Now, why do you think that made the biggest difference?
Because it played out over the next 2 turns. Like the next turn, they couldn't remove my Dothy Voidwalker. and the turn after they did. But if I had played Dauthi Voidwalker, then griefed them, I knew that they had the Cauldron. Choose that card. Dauthi Voidwalker says it goes into exile. On my turn, I sack my Dauthi Voidwalker and cast their Cauldron Complete and just start swinging on turn 3.
Oh, does Voidwalker not require you to pay mana for it?
Correct.
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
You don't have to pay the mana cost.
Yep.
And so as soon as I did it, I was like, that was a mistake. And I was playing against Elijah, and he was like, like Elijah does. Yep, that was a mistake. And then we played this like grindy game for a while. He was playing the blue-white reality chip.
Yep, artifact deck.
The Urza deck, yeah. And so I went 2-2, and that was my last round was there. I actually at this point don't remember what my other loss was too. And then I went to play last night, and I sat down round 1 against a burn opponent and got them pretty good in game 1. I stabilized at 4, and I was like, okay, please don't. I think I had played Karn, gotten Sky Sovereign out of the sideboard, played it, killed their Eidolon. I'm at 4, they're empty-handed. I'm like, please don't top deck a Boros Charm. Yep. You're playing against Burn. You're like, please don't top deck.
Right.
They didn't top deck the Boros Charm.
Okay.
I untapped. I used Karn to animate my boat. I swung with that and a Shambling Vent, so now I'm up to 6. I'm, feeling good. They, end of turn, bolted me or something, untapped, and tried to lava spike me or something. Like they were going to do the 6 damage.
Yep.
And so I solituded my boat.
Okay.
And gained 5.
Yep.
Because it was still a creature because I had crewed it with, or manned it up with Karn.
Okay. Yep.
And so exiled my own boat and went back up to 5. And then on my turn, minus Karn again, cut the boat from hand. I think I swung with the thing. The next turn they played an Eidolon. I played boat, and they were like, okay, yeah, we're done.
Okay. But
I ended up losing that game. And then in the second round, I played against our good friend Jacob, who was playing Murktide.
Okay.
Is it Murktide? And we played to this wicked grindy place. Game 1, we played to this wicked grindy place where I finally got him to like legit no cards in hand, and back and forth. And I hard cast a Grief, and he had triple blue modal spell Archmage's Charm.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm going to draw 2. He's like, I don't know if this is right or not. And in my head, I was like, oh, I'm going to win this game.
Yep.
Like, he's going to draw 2. I'm going to take whatever the best card is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm off to the races, right?
Yep.
I've got Grief. And he reveals 2 cards, and it's Murktide. So I take a Murktide.
Yep.
And he plays the other one and makes it an 8/8. I'm at 10.
Yikes.
On my turn, goes back to my turn.
Yep.
I can't, I could swing in for the 3 or whatever. That's fine. I put Yorion in my hand and cast it.
Mm-hmm. You have a blocker.
I have a blocker.
Yep.
He draws for turn, swings his 8/8, and I'm at 10, and I think, mind you, I've seen 2 bolts already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I'm not going to block this turn.
Yikes.
Bolt you.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I'm dropping.
Yep.
I'm done. I'm done with Magic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I didn't play Tuesday night, but I did play Friday Night Magic. I did go undefeated. I went 3-0-1, so 3x1. Drew with Jacob for the finals. He was actually playing my Rhinos list. He wanted to borrow that night, so I gave it to him. meet him in the finals.
Yep.
Ends up beating me for the foil promo pack, which is fine. Well, whatever.
Now it makes sense because he said to me, he's like, my luck's going to run out. He's like, I can't keep winning all the time. My luck's going to run out. I was like, okay.
Well, most of the time, if you're playing blue, you have a bad matchup against Merfolk.
Yeah, because you can swing.
Except for when you're playing big things like Rhinos and Murktide, for the most part. Rhinos actually outpaces Merfolk pretty easily now. So I knew going into it that I was probably losing that, which is why we drew.
Yeah.
So, but my matchups were like, round 1 was Titan. Round 2 was Mardu Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep.
And then round 3 was Murktide, and then Rhinos round 4. So
nice. I did see, and I just want to mention and give a shout out. Logan was there. Last night, and he was playing the black-white list that I've been talking about, like the one from MTG Top 8 with Charming Princes and a Shriekmaw in the main deck that's playing Undying Evil and Malakir Rebirth, like all the blink effects. And when I left, he had won both of his rounds like handily and was giggling the whole time because he was like, oh, you'd like to kill my Stoneforge Mystic? I'm going to go get my third equipment from it. Yeah.
And I've actually seen that list and iterations of that list in 5.0 dumps, in some smaller online events, so it's becoming a thing. Like it's out there. People are doing somewhat well with it. There was actually a Mardu list that posted, I think, in the 5.0 dump, because I think you shared it with me the other day.
Yes, well, and now we get to the really good stuff, because you shared with me a 5.0 deck dump from the other day, and the very first deck in the list, I think. No? Okay, so the ones that you texted me the other day, I think you sent me 2 different 5.0 dumps.
Yep.
One might have been the older one, and the first list in it was Black, White, Blank. And I was just like, oh, did he send this to me because it was Black, White, Blank? And look at this, McWin Sauce. Look at all these famous names. We're going to...
Yeah, a lot of these names I recognize just because they show up in these quite often. And like McWin Sauce, they do a lot of the challenge events, so I see their name quite a bit.
Yeah. Slowgurk, the Overslime deck 5.0. That's cute. So for those of you that are listening or on YouTube, we're scrolling through some deck lists. We've got Hardened Scales, which, let me tell you, the Ozolith is almost a $20 card right now. I didn't realize. Indomitable Creativity. We've got...
Is this Murktide? No,
it's Underworld Breach combo.
Okay.
Thassa's Oracle, Underworld Breach. There it is, Grinding Station.
I was going to ask if there was playing the Grinding Station combo. This was one of the decks I lost to in my prelim this past Monday. And the mistake I made in this matchup was I had a Relic of Progenesis in play. And I said, I'm going to crack this when they cast Underworld Breach. A few turns later, they cast Underworld Breach. Like, okay, cool, I'm going to exile their graveyard. That was the mistake, was cracking it in response to Underworld Breach. I should have just let it sit there and let them go through their library some more, putting stuff more into their graveyard until they try to cast, or like right before they go to cast Thassa's Oracle to exile their graveyard.
Yeah.
And I was winning the game otherwise, but except I cracked my Relic too soon. So
until you've made that mistake, you probably, or until you've played the matchup, you really don't know.
Exactly.
Let's see, Aspiring Spike got in here with Jund, looks like. Liliana of the Veil, Renin 6, Ragavan. Nice.
So remember how I said Liliana of the Veil is making a comeback? She really is. I think in the challenge and the other event that we'll look at in a little bit, she's posted a few times as well. So 3-drop Planeswalkers, 3-drop Creatures, Seasoned Pyromancers played in this list as well.
Yeah.
So Lurrus being banned has done a lot more for this format than maybe first thought.
I like the Boil in the sideboard.
That can get out of there. That can get out of there.
I just like destroy them. Don't keep them tapped. Don't let them bounce your, whatever. Don't let them bounce your choke. Boil those bitches. Feng Shai 5-0 with control, but it's like black-blue. Blood Chief's Thirst, Inquisition Thoughtseize. 4 fatal pushes. Oh, baby.
Yep. Black-blue control, which isn't something that we see a ton of.
Nope.
It's running two main board dress downs and 2 shock typhoons, which isn't something we've seen a lot of recently.
No. But, well, we also haven't seen a full 4 Snapcaster mages in a deck in Modern in a long time.
Yep.
Dredge. Nothing I want to say about Dredge.
Nope.
It's
a deck that it's still playable, it's still fine.
Bob the Dog, and what is going on here?
This is the mono black.
Oh, it is. Okay,
this
the
is
Cabal
black.
Coffers.
Yep, Cabal Coffers.
I'm looking for
going around the table.
There it is.
Invoke Despairs.
Yeah, we talked about this. We said, we talked about Andy playing this at our shop a couple weeks ago, and that you might see this more often. Here it is in the 5-0 deck count.
Yep.
Invoke Despair. This should be the name of the deck.
It really should be.
Because this is the only reason that somebody finally said, oh, let me try playing Cabal Coffers and Urborg in Modern. And funny story, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, at least the reprinted copies, are at their all-time high right now.
Oh, man.
Jundsack, I'm guessing.
Yep, there's Goblin Bombardment, so sacrifice a bunch of dudes, ping your opponent for a bunch of damage.
Mayhem Devil, ping somebody for a bunch of damage.
Yep. Seasoned Pyromancer again pops up in this list, as well as Grist the Hunger Tide, which is probably going to see, it's probably going to be the premier 3-drop Planeswalker for a bit. This and Liliana will fight over slots in a lot of variants, but it's there.
Endurance and Force of Vigor are also near their all-time highs right now.
I'm not surprised.
Just saying. Mox Amber also at an all-time high right now, which this is a fun deck. So now we are looking at Krusdal's 5-0 list. This is a Bard class deck where you're trying to make your legends cost a green and a red less.
Okay.
And then all of your deck has green and red mana costs, basically. So you can reduce the cost of your Gallia to 0.
And they're all, just looking over the names of these creatures, they're all legendary creatures.
They're all legends, because that's part of
the part of the thing.
Legendary spells you cast cost green, red less to cast.
Okay.
So for Burgi, you can just pay 1 for Burgi. For Asika, you can play green. For Gallia, it's free. For Goro, it's free.
That seems broken.
It's fun. I mean, you have to get Bard class in play.
Yep.
You have to get it to level 2.
Okay. Yep. So this will be on turn 4. To turn 3 or turn 4, essentially, you get to play all these other things for super cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun deck.
Yep.
One of the things that I haven't pointed out as we've gone through is Beseiju, Adawara, Hall of the Storm Giants, Dredge. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Dredge. Takanuma. The Goblin Bombardment deck, that has a strict mana base. But again, Sokazan. So the red one. That is not that great. Getting played. Jim. What do we got here? Living End. Adawara. The Sky Turtle. We have
Tron.
Which
has seen a resurgence. Tron and Living in both, right? So, Tron was kind of a joke of a deck back when Lurrus was still legal. And for whatever reason, with Lurrus being gone, Tron has made a comeback. I think I've played against at least one Tron deck in my recent leagues. So, whatever made that shift happen, Tron is coming back. Yeah. And Living End, I really think people need to be playing more Chalice of the Voids, either main board or sideboard, because Living End has just also made a comeback, and it's a deck that its strategy game 1 is very straightforward, and it doesn't run. Most of those lists aren't even running main board Beseijus right now. So main board Chalice of the Void or just graveyard-based hate is good enough to shut them down game 1. I don't think enough people are running it right now.
Is that why this Tron list is running 4 main deck relics?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that and Murktide. Keep those Murktide graveyards small, people.
Yep.
Yep. This is Bring to Light Scapeshift. At least we don't have to hear them calling it whatever the crap was that we were saying last week. Wish Shift.
Yep.
Wish Shift. I don't see any wishes in this one. I'm a fan. 3 Ketria Triomes in Modern. Kanishi. Kaito Shizuki Grixis Death Shadow. That's cute. Pijanti.
Murktide Regent.
Murktide deck. It's so funny when you've been playing Modern for a while and you look through these lists and you're like, okay, 3 Ren and 6, that could be 10 decks. Dragon Rage Channel at 10 decks. A Croxa. 1 Croxus seems weird to me. Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyf. Okay. It's a Jund deck. At that point, anything goes.
Yep.
It could be any mix and nothing would surprise me.
Pretty much.
But like you have to get to that point. It's at looking at some of these deck lists, like so Booty X Goblins 5-0 list, 3 Liliana the Veil, 3 Dothy, 3 Croxa, 3 Ragavan. This is just black red mid range.
Yep.
You get 3 creatures into it and you're like, I know what this is. Getting to that point, I think helps you in an event where you sit down from somebody that goes, Blackleaf Cliffs, Thoughtseize, Blood Crypt Untapped, Dothy Voidwalker, and you're like, what deck is this?
Yeah.
I've only seen black cards, but obviously they're playing red-black lands. It could be Jund, but that's when you're starting. Oh, Takanuma. Myra 0/0.
4-color Omnath. It looks like this Bring to Light.
It's Bring to Light Scapeshift.
Yep.
D. Paulson. Primetime. Gons 1987. It was a good year. I was there. This is
your Blink deck.
This is the Blink deck. Blade of the Oni, Blade Splicer, Charming Prince, 4 Grief, Lion Sash, Shriek Maw, very cute, 4 Solitude, 4 Stoneforge Mystic, 3 Agadeem's Awakening, 2 Amiria's Call. Again, so weird that I'm still not sure on that one. 2 Persist, just in case. 4 Ephemerate, 3 Malakir Rebirth, 3 Undying Evil. Still only 4 things you can get with Stoneforge. I'm sorry. I missed Lion Session, Blade of the Oni. So there's 6 things you can get with Stoneforge Mystic. Batterskull, Cauldra, Maul of the Skyclaves, Sword of Fire and Ice. Touch the Spirit Realm, full 4, baby. I don't know. Maybe I'll build this version and try this out. Then you just actually get to see the good cards every game. But that's neither here nor there. What is this? I'm just going to scroll real quick.
So this one has Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Oh, Blood Moon Teferi. So this is
like Esper, or not Esper.
Martyr?
It's Jeskai. It's Jeskai mid-range almost, because you have
blue, white, red, yeah.
You have some mid-rangey things. You have a Blood Moon, you have Fable. Oh, you have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which is very mid-rangey, right? You play it on turn 3. You get to loot, make a token. You get to loot. On the next turn, you get to make a goblin that...
So on the first turn, you make a goblin.
Second turn, you loot.
Yeah.
The third turn, it flips into a bad Kiki-Jiki. But the goblin, being able to make tokens, can help ramp into... You have more powerful things, such as Solitude, Fury, the Charmar, Obsidian Charmar. So it feels very mid-rangey to me.
Feels very mid-rangey. This is another Ephemerate deck, which is cute. 4 Prismatic Ending, 2 Teferi Time Raveler. This is an interesting list. This is a new amalgamation of cards. Mm-hmm. So this is one of the first ones that we've looked at that it's like, this isn't a deck we've seen before.
Correct.
That's cute. What did Mick Winsauce play? Control. Blue-white Control. 4 Spreading Seas. Celestial Colonnades. I'm sure that there is tech in here. 3 Snapcaster and 4 Solitudes. Arbor Elf, Blood Raid Elf, Bone Crusher Giant, Blood Moon, Utopia Straw. This is what Ponza has turned into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. So, like, it's less land destruction and more just mid-rangey threats. I mean, you do have Blood Moon, which will take out a lot of things game one. So,
what's the younger guy's name that plays in our shop?
Peter?
Peter has been playing a deck quite like this. Mm-hmm. And he went turn 2 Questing Beast on me the other day, and I was so mad. And I grief ephemerated him on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
And took like everything that he had except for 2 lands, an Arbor Elf, and a Utopia Sprawl or something.
Okay.
And I think he went land to Arbor Elf, turn 2, land, tap it, put Utopia Sprawl on the first one, tap it for 2, untap it, tap it for 2, Questing Beast. And I was like, come on, dude. Like...
So I actually have a quick story about Arbor Elf and the old land destruction lists. And after this story, we'll probably go look at the actual competitive events that were happening. But what happened in my story was I was playing against land destruction. They went turn 1 land Utopia Sprawl. They went turn 1 land Arbor Elf. And then on turn 2, they went to go play Utopia Sprawl. I was playing Spell Pierce at the time, and I went to Spell Pierce. So I went to go Spell Pierce a spell because actually they were casting Stone Rain. So this is turn 3, right? They go to cast Stone Rain. I Spell Pierce it. They didn't realize that they could tap their Arbor Elf to untap the land to generate 2 mana for the Spell Pierce. I did it to them twice. I got to Spell Pierce Stone Rains with my opponent having the ability to pay the mana,
Arbor Elf in play.
But they didn't see it. Won that game, or won that round, but it's
as you should.
You just gotta pay attention to what your cards do.
All right, so we've been holding out on you guys, and I just been scrolling down and scrolling down and scrolling down and scrolling down. Because really, what we want to get to is, look at this list from Motown 123.
That's me.
Fish made a 5-0.
They did. I did. This league I actually finished the night of our last episode.
Yeah.
I went home, finished, I think it was like two rounds, like 5-0'd. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll be in the deck dump. I was. And then I actually 5-0'd again 2 days later. And that league dump was supposed to happen yesterday, and it never did. Yeah. So I should technically, I think, have 2 league dumps. Which is unfortunate. It's great. It's unfortunate that it didn't happen, but yeah, every now and then, Merfolk will 5-0 a league, and then we'll get featured in these dumps, and
so it was funny because part of me was like, oh, we should make a big deal about, Zach got 2 5-0s in a row. They should show up on 2 different 5-0 dumps. I'm looking forward to listening to some of the other podcasts that I listen to.
That's what I'm listening. I'm waiting for that,
and hear them be like, "Oh, here we saw Fish in the 5-0 league or 5-0 dump or whatever." Mm. And then with this whole Will Smith, Chris Rock stuff, I'm like, "Keep the Merfolk's name out of your mouth." But when Zach went to leave last Wednesday after we recorded, he goes, I've got 4 wins in a league. He's like, I kind of don't know if I want to go play that last game of this league or not, but I'm 1 game away from a 5-0, and I was like, sweet, dude. And I don't even, maybe an hour and a half later, I got a screenshot that's like the
5-0.
win. Yeah, 5-0'd with Fish.
Yep.
And so, I mean, again, top 4ing 1K not that long ago.
Yep.
2 5-0s in the last week. Doing, 301 in Modern at the shop the other day. Apparently, Fish is not in a bad spot if you know how to pilot it.
That's right. It goes back to what we, almost like our catchphrase, play what you know, and play it. If you play it well enough, you'll do well enough.
Yeah.
So
congratulations, Zach.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I don't know why I'm congratulating you. You did you put in the work, but... Did we have other results?
We did. There was a Modern Showcase challenge, and then there was a Super Qualifier. The Super Qualifier leads to the newer Pro Tour, which is basically whatever big arena event that they host at a certain time. But the Showcase Challenge event, the top 32 breakdown was 5 Murktide, 4 Timber Footfalls, 4 Living End, 2 4-color Blink, 2 Black Red Grief, 2 Black Green Yawgmoth, 2 Burn, and then a Black Green Saga list, a Eldrazi Tron, which is something that we don't see a lot of at this point in time. Bant Heliod, which is also a deck that we don't see quite a bit of.
But it is making a resurgence.
It's making a resurgence. 4-color Elementals, 5-color Creativity, Dredge, Bring to Light Scapeshift, Amulet Titan, Hammer, Grixis Death Shadow, Mono Green Tron.
Yeah.
So a few key things. Shadow is on the decline. For whatever reason, like, I can't imagine Lurrus being banned being that bad for the deck. No. But I think people are just excited to play with 3-drop creatures and Planeswalkers again, so maybe they're gravitating towards decks that allow that, and then at some point they'll gravitate back towards Death Shadow. I wouldn't rule it out. Like, it's on the decline. It's never
going to go away.
It's never going to go away, though.
I mean, here's the thing. If you had asked me 3 months ago about Eldrazi Tron, I would be like, I don't know why somebody's playing it. Mm-hmm. But if we look at the top 8 out of that 32, Eldrazi Tron came in 3rd place, so they made the quarterfinals. Bant Heliod was in 6th place. Black Green Saga took 1st, Temur Footfalls in 2nd, Eldrazi Tron in 3rd. Living End in 4th, Temur Footfalls again in 5th, Bant Heliod in 6th. 4-color Elementals with Yorion in 7th, and 4-color Blink with Yorion in 8th. Just to look outside of that, we got another Living End, Black Red Grief, and Murktide, and a 3rd Temur Footfalls if you look at the top 12.
Yeah. So all these decks were prominent in the Lurrus era, and they're all prominent, if not better, somehow without Lurrus in the meta. So It's a good time to play Modern.
It's a good time to play Modern. So throughout the cast while we were looking at deck lists, and I'm like, man, this card is at its all-time high. This card is at its all-time low. This card is at its all-time high. I know I've talked about this before, and actually, I apologize because I know that we had a comment actually on one of our prior videos about somebody was happy about the MTG stock shout-out, and specifically looking at that all-time high, all-time low list. Really seeing, like, so I love to sort this by set and look for sets that I know that I may have opened. So, like... Mm-hmm. You know, I've had a few Secret Lair drops, so I'm looking. Oh, the Bloom Tender is at an all-time high. I don't think this one is actually shipped yet. But that Dryad of the Ilsean Grove is not going down.
I don't think I've actually seen that before. That looks really good.
It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, that's not a... that's a pretty pixelated version of it, but it is decent art in a full border. And so... being able to scroll through and say Modern Horizons 2, Modern Horizons cards that are at their all-time high, Yawgmoth, Force of Vigor, Urza.
Fury's up there too.
Fury, which is not the most expensive of the elementals by far, but it is as high as it's ever been. Should be telling you something. Either get them now if you want to play them anytime soon, or if you have one that you don't plan on playing,
get rid of it.
Put it in your trade binder even, right? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's a great way to operate your trade binder, is to say, what is at its highest value right now that I don't play? Let me put it in there and trade into stuff that I can play, or trade for 4 other cards that might go up. So things that I noted that are at all-time highs right now, a lot of the free commander spells from 2020?
19. Yeah, 2020, 2019.
Something like that. Yep. Talking about the deflecting swats and that sort of thing that are free to cast if you have your commander. Almost all of them are at their peaks. Not saying to go get them. I'm saying if you have one that you're not playing, whatever. Yep. A few of the triomes are at their all-time high, specifically Savai and Ragram. Shadow Spear is at an all-time high.
That's crazy.
Right, even after the Lurrus ban, like, I mean, and there may be a taper on that. Everybody that wants to play those sort of decks really only need one.
You do.
but it is such a powerful card in EDH. Do not underestimate Shadow Spear in EDH, because it has that second or whatever third line of text.
Pay 1 mana, the opponent's things lose. Is it indestructible and hexproof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when somebody goes, Avis and Angel of Hope, and their board is now indestructible, and you're like, does anybody have a Wrath? And the Avacyn player's going, hey.
Doesn't matter.
And you're like, okay, 2 mana. I'm going to play Shadow Spear and pay 1. And then, I'm going to pay Shadow Spear and pass the turn, and that person can Wrath. Anyway, and the Ozolith, again, counters, even though Hardened Scales is not all over the results, it's still getting played. It shows up occasionally. It's, it's outside of a lot of top 8s right now.
Mm-hmm.
And another powerful commander card that's just low CMC, high upside, colorless card.
Yep,
absolutely. Almost always equals a win financially. So if you have some Ozoliths that you're not playing, they may go up further, they may not. But just keep in mind that that's at its highest right now. Mm-hmm. Notable all-time lows. We talked about this before. Most of the ZNR Expedition fetches.
Yep.
Like literally the Scalding Tarn Expedition fetch from Zendikar Rising Expeditions is as low as it's ever been. The Japanese Mystical Archive Inquisition of Kozalek, which is a very cool looking card, very distinguished. Actually, somebody came in the other night playing with the Inquisition of Kozalek playmat, and I recognized it immediately. And then if I had to snap this up this week, it is Unnatural Growth, Extended Art. Now, obviously, this has a very limited audience, but mono green or mostly green in EDH is a very popular archetype. Mm-hmm. And all of those decks love to swing with big, beefy creatures. This is a rare from Innistrad Midnight Hunt that says 1 green, 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 green enchantment at the beginning of each combat. Double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. I swear, if you had 2 creatures in play and they were of reasonable size, and then you played this, and then you played Craterhoof, and Craterhoof pumped all your things by 3 or 4 that were already, 4 or 5s, now they're going to be 10s.
Yep.
Like, this doubles, and it also works when you're blocking. Like, each combat is actually ridiculous in a commander game.
This is the definition of win more, right? So whether it's EDH or standard or Pioneer, like this is a definition of a win more card. But it's a powerful thing.
It's a powerful thing
because it says each combat and each creature you control. So it is 5 mana, but your opponent gets immediately terrified of this.
Oh yeah.
Well, they should.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if it wasn't 4 green pips, I might and for other reasons too. But like the only kind of weenie deck that I have is Gaddock Teague. Mm-hmm. That has a lot of bears, a lot of 2/2s and 2/3s and 1/3s and whatever. And think about even in that deck, if Gaddock Teague weren't the commander, this would be a great add to that deck because it would make all my 2/2s 4/4s.
Exactly. It doesn't give trample, but that's fine. Like it doesn't need to give you creatures trample. It just if it makes them big enough to attack and block profitably, then that's all that matters.
Right. I can my creatures attack well, my creatures block well. It's a super Timmy card. Mm-hmm. And I don't there's a reason why this is $7.50 right now. And it's not because of modern or standard.
No. No.
And so this, I think this is an easy $15 card in a year.
Probably.
And not because it's awesome, but because the people that love this kind of card are going to love this card.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The other one that I have that I want to talk about that and this was the one that I actually thought I had clicked on first, which is funny, is a pre-sale individual card from an upcoming Secret Lair drop that is a full art Exquisite Blood that looks cool as hell.
That does. Is that themed by anything? Like, is that...
Yeah, so that's themed with the Crimson Vow. This is vampire themed.
That makes sense.
Blood is too precious a thing in these days of dishonorable peace. Why is the cat trying to get into my magic cards? Just because we're sitting here. So, Hunger of the Ancient One. So this is one of those cards that they gave its own name, and then underneath it has the original MTG name, Exquisite Blood. And just this old vampire dude with a cup of blood and a bunch of piles of corpses just piled up around him. It sounds pretty dark when I say it out loud, but it makes for a very cool looking card. You can pre-order these right now for $35. You can pre-order the foils for $45.
Wow.
And let me tell you, if we go and look at Exquisite Blood and look at the other versions that are printed, Jumpstart is $35. Avacyn Restored is $35. The List is $35. If you can go and pre-order this full art one for $35, you should feel absolutely zero disappointment. If you go and even at the pre-order price, and I guarantee you it will go down. When people actually have these in their hands, it will go down a little bit. But like, so Avacyn's probably the only other foil. If we go and look at what a foil Exquisite Blood is, $60.
It's expensive.
So if you could even pre-order what I think is a cooler art, although not the old one, for $45, it's an EDH staple in any black deck. Like, you don't even have to play the infinite combo to make that a worthwhile play. The Secret Lair drop Exquisite Blood is... it showed up on the all-time low list on MTG stocks today. And that's what brought it to my attention.
Okay.
I'm in. Are there any cards that you've been paying attention to right now?
Not particularly, no. I haven't been doing my homework for that, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay. You've been actually doing 5-0, so you're getting us the credibility.
This is true. I've been grinding leagues.
Right, so you're giving us actual competitive cachet. Yeah. Competitive insight and credibility. So, yeah, man.
That's it for today, guys. As always, thanks for watching or listening to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on Twitter at Mo_town111 or Motown123 on MTGO.
Yeah, and I'm Brad, and I'm at the SnapCast Pod on Twitter. I would tell you my arena screen name, but
yeah,
it doesn't make sense to read out. It's arena and nobody cares.
All right, guys. Catch you later.